We're going to continue on with the fenders. The other fender turned out really nice after we took all the paint off of it. This one just got a little bit of paint. We can sand the rest of this stuff off, but we've got some metal that is some rotted metal on this one in 3 different places. One up here where the horn was mounted, there was a little bracket on the bottom side that the previous owner patched in there, and there's some witness marks up here in the front where maybe something was mounted on the front of this, and also on the back side over there. So we can get that stuff just cut out and get some metal replaced in there and see if we can get this thing in a little bit better condition, make sure it's a good candidate for our project. So let me get this thing flipped upside down and we'll get started. I think I'll start on here where this horn was mounted. There's a hole that's size of a racquetball. So let's get this turned over. Okay, so here's this piece that was scabbed on. I got it cut off, and I think the reason they've used this is it's got kind of a captured nut, a little plate there, it's threaded. That way you can thread that thing on there. What a mistake, you know, by putting that on there and not putting in there properly. That's just a place for moisture to get in there and rot, and that's why we have now a huge hole. But anyway, got that piece cut out, and what I'm going to do is just go ahead and cut out a big square section here and get a patch, and we're going to get that all welded back in there. All right, we're on the bottom side of this, and I did put a little bit of bend to this a little bit. It's contoured here, and then over here it actually just falls off, so it lifts up. I got a little of that contour in here. This should match pretty well, but this is really straight. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tack this along this edge here first, and then we'll flip this fender over, and I'll start matching it up and start working our way down here to get this all. We're just gonna try and get it close. It's the inner fender, so it's not going to be seen from the outside, but let's get that thing tacked in. All right, now that I got this tacked along this one side, I'm going to flip this whole fender over. We're going to start inching this thing back down and finessing it into place. All right, there's the top side, really these 3 edges here. This back edge, I'm going to flip this thing back over and finish welding it from the back side. And, you know, am I supposed to say, wow, this turned out great? This metal is still a little crunchy and blow through and stuff. In fact, I'm hoping this scene is a little bit out of focus so you can't see everything, and you're not going to see the back side of this because I'm sure there's a bunch of stalactites hanging down. But I'll get this cleaned up here a little bit, but I'm going to flip it over. I am going to go ahead and get that finished welding, and then we'll get all cleaned up, and I'll show you how it turned out. All right, here's the underside of that repair. I probably will fiberglass these 3 edges, and then this is going to get seam sealed all down through this. I got to keep moisture from getting into that crack. So that one's done. We're going to move on to what's going on in that front. All right, the next thing I want to tackle is this front surface. This is the front of the fender. It's upside down still. But the previous owner evidently had some things he had mounted on the outside of this fender in the front. There's 3 holes here. There's a hole up underneath this plate and another hole here. These 2 were patched. They got little plates on them, almost like a little electrical plug from an electrical conduit box that he's tacked in 4 spots. These 2 I'm going to investigate from the front side to see if I grind all that out, if I can just weld that in there and leave those. I might just leave those. These 2 were welded in properly, so I like what they did there. That's definitely a good thing. This has got to go. This is going to bring moisture in here and cause a problem. So I'm going to start off by getting that thing all cut out and see what's in there. So I'm going to do that real quick. Yeah, look at all that rust right there. All that loose rust right there came out from behind that panel. just not the way to fix that. So I'm actually going to come up here and down and clip across the top of this. We'll just put a whole new piece of metal right in here. Okay, I got all that cleaned up, ready to, I'm going to try now go build my patch. This is metal filled, and these 3 holes are metal filled, so this is all done right. So I just need to get this patch panel built and put in, and then we'll float this with some fiberglass at first, and obviously some body filler to get it smooth. But that'll be a good repair right there. So let me get that patch cut. All right, similar to that other patch, the way that makes most sense to me how to patch this was I went ahead and cut this out oversized, and I went ahead and bent it, mostly to shape. It'll go in here like this. This edge here fits pretty nicely against that curve, and this back side that fits nicely with that curve. It's a little bit more curved at the top than it is at the bottom, but I think I got this really super close. But I'm going to actually massage it into place as I weld it in. But I did it oversized. And I'm just going to hold it back here and kind of scribe it to where I want it. And that should, then I'll do a final trim on it. All right, this turned out pretty nice. It's got a little bit of a concave to it, and what I didn't realize, this had a little bit of damage to it. They had some body filler in this area, so I should have known and brought this out before I welded that in. So still got a little bit of dip. I have panel beat it out a little bit, and I'm gonna put just a thin layer of fiberglass all the way across this just to get it out some. Then we'll end up priming this, and then probably a little bit of body filler just to get it trued up. But anyway, we're going to do fiberglass next here and on the section that we did first. All right, while the fiberglass is drying on the other side, I spun this thing around. Here's the last piece I want to solve, and it's this little small piece right here. I'm going to try and cut out a little credit card size. I've got it marked here, and see if we get a piece patched in there, but this is pretty pitted, pretty deep. This is not going to weld well. So I'm going to try this little piece here, and if that gets really messy, then I'll probably extend out and try and get rid of all this. Other than that, you know, some rust prohibitor, as well as the fact that this outer coat here and underneath side is going to both be in like a bed liner. That's going to really kind of stiffen and help, you know, protect. The rust preventer is going to stop the rusting, and then the other stuff's going to make a nice coating on that. But let me get that cut out and see if I can get a piece measured for this. This is actually going to be the hardest piece, I think, but let's get it worked on. All right, I'm actually really pleased with how that came out. There's my little, you know, business card size patch. I had one little blowout down here, but I just chased it a little bit and was able to get it under control and get that thing tacked in. It's in there nice. It just needs to be sanded now down and then prepped. So I'm gonna now I'll grind this down and then we'll move over. I wanna get the fiberglass portions kind of completed, and then we'll probably at some point need to start getting this thing just prepped for primer. All right, as you saw, got that ground up, and then I ended up grinding around kind of this area and put some acetone on it to get rid of all the grime and dirt, and then got this fiberglass. Unfortunately, when I tried to kick the camera on when I was applying the fiberglass, the battery had died. I didn't have time to swap batteries, so I went ahead and just threw it on there and thought I'd just show you. But we're gonna let this cure up. I gotta wait for a better day so I can get this whole piece outside. I'm gonna do all the sanding on this fiberglass outside so I don't get that dust in my shop. So that'll kind of wrap that up, and I think with this progress I'll probably end this episode, and the next time we'll work on kind of getting this whole thing, this Fender, relatively good shape, and but it does need a lot more attention than that other Fender. I got a lot of work up in here to do. We'll do that, finish up the fiberglass, and probably get all this stuff into primer next episode. You know, sometimes you got to think about, you know, what has this Fender been through? This is an actual Fender from an OEM Fender off a Jeep, and it's got probably thousands of miles, hundreds of thousands of miles on it. You know, wonder what be curious to know what this Fender right here has seen in its lifetime. And while we fixed a bunch of really bad patches, you know, that was what the guy did at the time, and you know, who am I to erase the history of the panel? So anyway, we're gonna get it straightened up, make it look a lot better, and we're gonna get it put on Rowdy, and he's gonna be proud of it. So we'll see more about that next time.
Jack it up.